I used to think I needed more to feel secure. More storage bins, more kitchen gadgets, more backup towels, more holiday decorations. Just in case. Somewhere along the way, I convinced myself that the more I owned, the more prepared I was for life. But then came my 67th birthday. My daughter, Emily, flew in from Portland to visit me here in Savannah, Georgia. We were making tea when she opened my pantry and gently laughed. "Mom, do you really need 5 different kinds of muffin tins?" I smiled, a little embarrassed. "Well, you never know when you'll want to bake mini lemon poppy seed muffins and regular sized blueberry at the same time." She hugged me and said something I'll never forget. "You spent your whole life taking care of everyone else. Maybe now's the time to take care of yourself by letting go of the stuff you don't need." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the things in my house closets packed with clothes that haven't fit me since the Clinton administration. Drawers full of tangled chargers. Coffee mugs from company picnics back in 1989. Why was I holding on to it all? Just in case. In case of what? So, the next morning, I started with one drawer, then a shelf, then a whole closet. And as I let go, something beautiful happened. I felt lighter, freer, like I could breathe again. And what's more, my spending habits changed. I stopped buying things just to fill space or cure boredom. I started asking myself, do I really need this? Or am I just trying to feel full? Turns out, less actually gave me more. More peace, more space, more time to enjoy what truly matters, like walks by the river, morning calls with Emily, and finally getting through that stack of novels on my nightstand. I'm not here to preach or sell you a storage solution. I'm just here to tell you, if you're over 60, it's not too late to live with less and love it more. Let me show you how. It started with drawers and closets. But soon, I turned my attention to something even bigger, my spending. For years, I never questioned it. I'd pick up little things here and there, another scarf on sale, a fancy new kitchen tool I saw on TV, a limited time offer for a subscription I never used. It didn't feel like much at the time, but those little purchases, they added up, not just in dollars, but in stress. One evening, I sat down with a notebook, a cup of chamomile tea, and my monthly bank statement. I highlighted every charge that didn't bring me joy, peace, or value. Streaming services I hadn't watched in months, auto shipments of vitamins I forgot to cancel, a pricey magazine that went straight from mailbox to recycling bin. By the end of the night, I'd canceled 6 subscriptions, returned a recent online order, and set up a simple spending rule for myself. If it doesn't make life simpler, sweeter, or more meaningful, skip it. I don't miss the stuff, not even a little. In fact, every dollar I don't spend now feels like a gift I'm giving to myself. I started putting that money toward things that actually matter: fresh produce from the farmer's market, a cozy yoga class twice a week at the senior center, and a weekend getaway to the Blue Ridge Mountains with my book club friends. Even something as simple as cooking from scratch instead of eating out has become a joy again. My kitchen, now decluttered and calming, feels like a place of peace instead of chaos. I'm not living in scarcity. I'm living in clarity. Letting go of excess, both physical and financial, has helped me create a home and a life that finally feels like me. Quiet, thoughtful, intentional. If you're over 60 and feel like you're drowning in too much stuff, too many bills, too many obligations, take it from me. You don't need more to feel whole. You just need less of the things that don't matter so you can make space for what truly does. And the best part, you can start today. It's funny when you start living with less. You begin to feel like you actually have more. After cutting back on spending and decluttering my home, I noticed something surprising. I was breathing easier. Literally, my house felt more open, my routines less hectic, and my mind less cluttered. There was space, not just on the shelves, but in my thoughts. Take my mornings. For example, I used to spend nearly 30 minutes just figuring out what to wear, rifling through a closet packed with clothes I rarely touched. Now, I keep a simple wardrobe of comfortable, versatile pieces that I love. Everything mixes and matches. I grab an outfit in 2 minutes flat and still feel put together. Then there's my kitchen. Before, I had gadgets I didn't even know how to use an electric egg cooker, 3 different types of blenders, a drawer full of mismatched Tupperware. Today, I have the essentials: a good pan, a sharp knife, and a few sturdy mixing bowls. Cooking is no longer a chore, it's a calm, meditative part of my day. Cleaning! It takes half the time it used to, with fewer things to dust, wash, or organize. My Saturdays are now for walks in the park, FaceTime with Emily, or curling up with a good book, not vacuuming behind furniture I never use. I even simplified my bills. I downsized my cable package to just internet and basic channels. I mostly watch YouTube or documentaries these days anyway. I traded in my old SUV for a smaller hybrid that's easier to drive and cheaper to maintain. It fits me now, my pace, my needs, my peace of mind. And let me tell you something that might surprise you. I've never felt richer. Not in money, but in time, clarity, and comfort. Minimalism isn't about sacrifice. It's about making room for what actually brings you ease. It's about owning fewer things and experiencing more life. The warmth of sunlight through a clean window, the joy of wearing your favorite sweater, the freedom of knowing everything you own has a purpose. At 67, I've never felt lighter. And if I can find this kind of comfort starting in my 60s, anyone can. As I continued to simplify my life, one of the most eye-opening realizations was how much money I had been wasting on things that didn't add real value to my days. I'd bought things on impulse, cheaper items that seemed like a good deal at the time, but quickly turned out to be a hassle, like those cheap nonstick frying pans. They promised easy cooking, but the coating started to peel after only a few months. I kept replacing them, thinking I was saving money, but in the long run, I was spending more. It was a hard lesson, but I've learned to invest in quality over quantity. Now, I only buy things I know will last, and when I do, I spend a little more to get something that works well for me. For example, I traded in my flimsy frying pans for one solid cast iron skillet. Yes, it was a little pricier up front, but it's been with me for years now, and I know it will last for decades. Cooking feels better with it, and the food tastes better too. I also invested in a high-quality stainless steel kettle that keeps my tea hot longer. It wasn't the cheapest option, but it makes my mornings feel a little more special. This approach extends to everything I buy now, whether it's clothing, furniture, or even cleaning supplies. I no longer fall for the temptation of sales on low-quality items that just end up sitting in the back of a drawer, only to be thrown away in a few months. I've learned that I'm better off spending a little more on something durable, that does the job well, and doesn't need replacing constantly. I also stopped accumulating just because things were on sale. For a while, I had an obsession with having extras in case I needed them. Extra towels, extra shoes, extra serving dishes. It seemed sensible at the time, but what I didn't realize was how these extras took up space in my home and my mind. Now, I focus on having only what I need and use regularly, and it feels so much better. I no longer have things cluttering up my cabinets or drawers, things that I might use once every few years, but have to store and organize anyway. This shift in how I view spending has also helped me feel less anxious. Instead of feeling the constant pressure to buy more, I feel a sense of satisfaction when I make thoughtful purchases. Every item I bring into my home now has a purpose, and that brings me a quiet peace I never realized I was missing. It's amazing how spending less can lead to feeling so much more fulfilled. As I continued to pare down my belongings, I realized another vital piece of the puzzle: space. Our homes are more than just places to store things, they are where we live, rest, and rejuvenate. And as I approached my later years, it became clear that the way I used my space needed to evolve. It wasn't just about decluttering anymore, it was about creating an environment that supported my well being. I started by tackling the rooms that had accumulated the most. The living room, where I spent most of my time, had once been filled with too many chairs, decorative items, and unnecessary pieces of furniture. It felt crowded, and I often found myself tripping over things or not being able to reach my favorite chair without navigating around obstacles. I realized that less truly meant more when it came to living comfortably. So, I began by reducing the number of furniture pieces. I donated the extra armchairs and side tables that weren't being used and focused on creating a layout that was open and accessible. I made sure that my walking paths were clear, especially in the areas where I spent most of my time. Having more space in my living room gave me the freedom to move around safely without the constant worry of bumping into something and risking a fall. Another big change was in my bedroom. I'd always loved the idea of a cozy, full of stuff bedroom, but it wasn't practical anymore. I removed excess items, leaving only the essentials: my bed, a couple of well-loved armchairs, and a small bookshelf. The difference was astounding. My bedroom went from feeling cluttered to serene. I finally had the space to breathe, relax, and even do some light stretching before bed without worrying about knocking something over. But the most significant benefit of all was the peace of mind it brought. By reducing unnecessary items, I created a space that felt safe, calming, and easy to maintain. Every room in my home now had a purpose, and there were fewer distractions, which meant I could truly unwind. No longer did I feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of things I had to organize and keep track of. I realized that by simplifying my surroundings, I had created a space where I could live more mindfully and comfortably, one that encouraged relaxation, safety, and peace of mind. And as I look around now, I see that my home, in its simplicity, has become a reflection of the life I am trying to lead. Less stress, more joy. As I reflected on the changes I had made, I realized there were several small, practical steps that anyone, especially those of us in our later years, could take to simplify their lives. These weren't just big changes, they were little adjustments that made a world of difference in how I felt every day. And I want to share them with you because they might be exactly what you need to live more comfortably and purposefully. Just like I have. First and foremost, I want to emphasize the importance of starting small. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you think about decluttering or changing your entire way of life. But you don't have to do it all at once. Take it room by room. Begin with the space you use the most, the kitchen, the living room, or the bedroom, and start removing things that no longer serve a purpose. It could be an old kitchen appliance you never use, a decorative item collecting dust, or even clothes that don't fit anymore. By taking these little steps, you'll quickly see a difference in your space and feel less weighed down by the things around you. Next, I recommend thinking about the items that matter most. We tend to accumulate so much stuff over the years, but many of those things don't add value to our lives anymore. Ask yourself, do I truly need this? Will it add to my comfort, my safety, or my peace of mind? It's not about getting rid of everything. It's about making sure that what's left has purpose and adds quality to your day-to-day life. For example, instead of buying lots of cheap items that wear out quickly, invest in something durable like a high-quality frying pan or a comfortable, ergonomic chair that will last for years. Also, consider the importance of routine. As we get older, consistency and simplicity can make life feel much more manageable. Create small daily habits around maintaining your space. Every morning, take a few minutes to tidy up. Put things back where they belong and make your bed. These simple acts help keep your environment clean and organized without overwhelming you. Lastly, don't forget about safety and accessibility. If you find that certain areas of your home are becoming difficult to navigate, look for solutions. Whether it's adding a sturdy handrail in the bathroom or adjusting furniture to create more walking space, small modifications can make a huge difference in reducing the risk of accidents and improving your overall comfort. These small adjustments have been life-changing for me, and I truly believe they can help anyone at any age. By simplifying our homes, focusing on what matters, and creating a space that brings peace rather than stress, we can live more fulfilling, comfortable lives. So take it one step at a time, just as I did, and soon you'll notice the positive changes too. In the journey of simplifying our lives, one of the most powerful lessons I've learned is the importance of letting go of what no longer serves us. By removing excess, whether it's material possessions or unnecessary stress, we create space for what truly matters: our well-being, our relationships, and our peace of mind. It's not about living with less for the sake of it. It's about choosing quality over quantity, comfort over clutter, and intention over impulse. As we grow older, we find that the simpler, more intentional approach to life often leads to a more fulfilling and joyful existence. So, take a moment to look around your home and your routine. What can you simplify? What can you let go of to bring more ease into your life? Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress and creating a life that truly aligns with your values. If you've enjoyed this story and found these insights helpful, please like and subscribe to the Senior Moments Matt channel for more tips and stories to help you live a richer, more fulfilling life. I'd love to hear your thoughts, share your experiences, or any questions you may have in the comments below. What have you simplified in your life? And how has it made a difference for you? Let's keep the conversation going.